California's iron grip on the automotive market could finally be over. The Stop CARB Act, introduced in the U.S. Senate as part of a larger legislative effort to address vehicle regulations, is generating a lot of buzz for its aim to curb the influence of the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, on national auto standards. Now, we've covered this a lot, but this bill is a big game changer. We just need to get it over the hurdle and get it signed by the president, because this bill seeks to limit CARB's ability to set stringent emission rules that impact not just California, but 17 other states, in addition to federal policy. As debates over vehicle costs, consumer choice, and environmental regulations heat up, the Stop CARB Act could reshape how cars are built and sold across America. The Stop CARB Act is a proposed piece of legislation focused on restricting the California Air Resources Board authority to enforce its own vehicle emission standards, particularly those stricter than federal regulations. While the bill is often discussed in connection with the Transportation Freedom Act, Senate Bill 711, introduced on February 25, 2025 by Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio, the Stop CARB Act specifically targets CARB's waiver under the Clean Air Act. These waivers allow California to set emissions rules that other states can adopt, influencing national vehicle standards. This bill aims to eliminate those waivers, preventing California from dictating emissions policies beyond its borders and blocking other states from following its lead. Currently, Senate Bill 711, which includes provisions aligned with the Stop CARB Act goal, is pending in the Senate Committee on Finance, with no floor vote scheduled as of September 3rd, 2025. Additionally, there are other bills that all tie together, and they're trying to get this passed all as one. Sponsored by Senators Moreno, Jim Banks of Indiana, Tim Sheehy of Montana, and Jim Justice of West Virginia, the broader Transportation Freedom Act also seeks to repeal federal emission standards, such as the EPA's multi-pollutant emission standards for 2027 and later model years, and Phase 3 heavy-duty vehicle greenhouse gas rules, while offering tax credits for auto manufacturing wages. I'm not a big fan of the last part of that, but the Stop CARB Act's focus on California Air Resources Board makes it a key component of this larger deregulation effort. CARB's influence stems from a unique provision in the Clean Air Act, which allows California to request waivers to set stricter emission standards than the federal government. Since the 1970s, CARB has used this authority to implement rules like Advanced Clean Cars 2 program, which mandates zero emissions vehicles by 2035. 17 other states, representing over 40% of the U.S. population, have adopted California Air Resources Board standards, effectively giving California outsized influence over national auto markets, even though it's constitutionally illegal. The Stop CARB Act argues this creates an uneven regulatory landscape that drives up costs and limits options for consumers and manufacturers. Here's why the proponents say it's necessary. Reducing costs for consumers is obviously critical, and CARB's strict standards require automakers to invest heavily in technologies like electric vehicles or advanced combustion engines. These costs often raise vehicle prices, with estimates suggesting compliance costs could add thousands of dollars to the sticker price on new cars. By limiting CARB's waiver, the bill aims to lower these costs, making vehicles more affordable for everyday Americans. Also, we need to streamline some of these regulations. The patchwork of federal, California, and state-adopted CARB standards creates complexity for automakers, and companies must design vehicles to meet multiple requirements, increasing production costs and delaying innovation. And the Stop CARB Act seeks to establish uniform federal standards, simplifying compliance and fostering a more predictable market. But we also want to preserve consumer choice, and CARB's push for zero-emission vehicles by 2035 limits the availability of gasoline-powered vehicles, trucks, and SUVs, which many drivers prefer for their affordability, range, and utility. The bill aims to protect consumer choice by preventing California's mandate from dominating national markets. And of course, we want to support U.S. manufacturing, and proponents, including industry groups like General Motors, Stellantis, Toyota, and the National Auto Dealers Association, argue that CARB's rules strain manufacturers, particularly smaller ones. By curbing CARB's influence, the bill could reduce compliance costs and boost domestic production, which means more jobs. And that is a good piece of the puzzle. Opponents, including environmental groups and states following CARB's lead, argue that limiting California's authority could have serious downside, and here's their perspective. Environmental setbacks. CARB standards have driven significant reductions in vehicle emissions, improving air quality and combating climate change. Repealing CARB's waiver could increase emissions, particularly in urban areas, leading to worse air quality and health issues. California's stringent standards have pushed automakers to develop cleaner technologies such as EVs and hybrids, which have become more popular lately. Some critics also see the bill as an overreach that undermines states' right to set policies reflecting local needs. California and its 17 partner states argue that these stricter standards address regional air quality challenges that federal rules may not adequately tackle. Of course, there are economic risks also, and while the bill aims to lower vehicle costs, opponents warn that weaker emission standards could raise long-term fuel costs for consumers if less efficient vehicles dominate the marketplace. Sadly, electricity has gotten more expensive across the country, and so there really isn't a financial benefit. But the Stop CARB Act taps into a broader debate about who should control vehicle standards: individual states, the federal government, or you, the free market. Supporters argue that California's outsized influence distorts the auto industry, forcing manufacturers to prioritize costly technologies over consumer demand. They point to the bill's potential to simplify regulations, reduce prices, and give drivers more choice, aligning with broader deregulation efforts like those in Senate Bill 711. Industry endorsements from major automakers and trucking associations underscore the appeal for a streamlined approach. As of September 2025, the Stop CARB Act provisions embedded within Senate Bill 711 remain in the Senate Committee on Finance, awaiting further action like hearings and amendments. I'm sure there'll be changes. I will be monitoring because I expect there to be quite a few of them. But the bill's progress is uncertain, given the polarized views on environmental policy and state rights. If scheduled and passes the Senate, it must clear the House and gain presidential approval. Legal challenges from California or environmental groups could also delay implementation if the bill becomes law. Of course, we expect that. And the next goal is to get the bill on the floor for a vote. The Stop CARB Act could reshape the cars you drive and the prices you pay and the power of California. Whether you're a car enthusiast, a truck enthusiast, or a daily commuter, or an auto industry worker, this bill touches your life. Will it lower vehicle costs and preserve your choice of gasoline-powered vehicles or an electric vehicle? Or will California continue to tell you what to drive? It's time to reach out to your senators and your representatives and tell them to get this bill on the floor, and let's take a vote and see where they stand. The link is in the description. It'll show you the most accurate updates. Of course, we will be reporting on it, so make sure to subscribe. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee, and if you want even more content, check out the links in the description. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.